All right, everybody. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I absolutely love spending time with you guys. You know that, but sometimes I'll get all of these ideas, and then between getting them out there and then editing, and then it doesn't quite happen for us. And that's so. Here's what I'm thinking. Oh boy, now we're gonna have my computer talking to me. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So what I'm thinking is that if we just do this in a live format, it makes it happen for both of us. So we're going to give this a try. This is my first, I've wanted to do this for years, but this is my first 100 days challenge. So this is one of 100 little live videos that I'm going to do for you. Now, the thing that I want you guys to know today is that the best and most exciting part of face painting for me is the questions. When kids ask questions, when we ask questions, I am always trying to figure things out. I'm trying to figure out life. I'm just trying to figure it out, right? And so in face painting education, we are often looking for answers. And then once we have those answers, there's this like stale thing that happens where it's like, oh, and that's how I paint my butterfly, and that's how I paint my tiger, and that's how I paint. And that's so sad to me because I feel like we want to always be, how did I paint my tiger today? And always asking this question of, what if I did the stripes down and in instead of just straight? And what if, and so my challenge now, my 100 days challenge is going to be the what if collection. So this is episode 1, and it's what if we start with line work? So many of our ideas that we do in a certain order, right? And I'm definitely a layer painter. I put things down and I get that happening. So I want to see what happens if I mess with my layers a little bit. I had this idea and I thought, what if? So instead of just showing you guys what I know works and everything, I want to invite you in if you want to come with me on my journey as I ask what if questions. Now, how else will this work? Well, I'll tell you. So today is a what if of my own. And believe me, I have 100 what ifs ready to go in case. But if you have a what if and you want my thoughts, or you want to see me paint something, you can absolutely sponsor one of these days. To do that, go over to Buy Me a Coffee, and I'll get it all in the description down below too. But we want to spend this time painting, and I'm still figuring this all out, of course. So we're going to get going with today's what if. What if we start with line work? Now, I'm doing this through Zoom, which is really fun and exciting because I've been using it in my private class that I teach. And of course, you guys are all invited to sign up for that class if you'd like. That's on Buy Me a Coffee as well. But it lets us do these awesome things like, check this out. We can paint and talk and have this good time together. And that makes me so happy. So here she is. She wants a butterfly. And I want to start with line work. So let me show you what I'm thinking. I have this idea in my head and I'm so excited to see if it's going to work. There is a little bit of pressure, not gonna lie, because I am painting things for you guys now that are not 100% foolproof. But of course, I want to talk you through how I make decisions when I'm doing something new. So I'm just loading up some pink. We're getting it nice and ready. And I want you to notice on her face. The human face is the first thing we see as an infant, right? We're looking up at a big person holding us, and there's a circle here, and there's a circle here, and even the lips are kind of a circle, and the nose are kind of a circle. So a circle is a really special shape. And so the line work that I want to start with on this butterfly is a bunch of circles. I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to do a circle on the top, and her favorite color is pink. So of course, that's the color we're using. And we got a nice circle. It's a little bit on the red side, but that's okay because I'm going to teach you something super cool here in a second. Then I want to do a smaller one. Variation is awesome. So we've got, and by smaller, I mean thinner. So we've got a thinner circle, and then we've got this thicker one. Now these are the top circles. I also want a bottom circle here. I'm going to make it a little bit on the smaller side. So we have top, bottom, and then let's do one in the middle. And then maybe let's throw one right here too. So you can see a bunch of circles and it's super fun, right? Now, this is a pinky red that I have on my brush. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dip that in water. So now I have a very wet brush, and I'm going to go over to what I call my mixing white. I have a white where I can just mix other colors right on top. And I added white to it. Now I have a pink that's the same family. I've just lowered down the value of that color. And I'm gonna go through and just add a lighter circle here and there. So we've got a couple more circles, and you can see that this is total line work, right? What did we do? We did line work first. This is like a bubble crazy. Now, do we love it? Of course not. It's not done. But now we're ready to paint our butterfly the way we always do. So I'm getting my sponge here, and I've got my nice spray bottle, but I'm going to do it off camera so we don't get it all wet. And I've got this. Now, the same thing that we did here to get a lighter pink, we can do that with our sponge too. So if you go over and you load some white on your sponge, now we have a white sponge. Now I can do that directly on top of any of my cakes, my rainbow cakes, and it gives me a pastel version. And that looks great for springtime and whatever. But okay, so here I've got this nice little block there for the eye. Now, of course, a kid has an eyelid, so we don't have to do that. But then what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like everything we just did isn't there. And we're going to come right here and we're going to just pat on that awesome butterfly shape that we love, we know and love. Let me load up one more time. And this is really fun to pick your favorite colors and to experiment and figure out. I'm going to do once more up here on the top. Oh, there we go. I grabbed that yellow. That's beautiful. And then we're going to come down here on the bottom. And I like to shift a little bit so it doesn't turn into one single round going down. So I'm just going to move out and get that bright pink right there. And then I can flip my sponge and get the bright pink and get the whole bottom wing. It's just shifted a little bit there. Okay, now we've got our circles and our butterfly, and you can see if I angle it a little bit, that's where the color is. So it's covered up all of this inner line work, which is exactly what I wanted. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our butterfly line work right on top. And I don't want to do anything too curly swirly. We're going to keep this pretty sharp and tight, and it's going to look great. Okay, so now because this is live, I'm going to just hop over to this other thing right here and see if we've got anybody talking to us. And it looks like we don't. I think we're doing all right. Okay, so part of the goal here is that if you have questions or whatever, feel free to add comments to the live and I will answer them probably in, day 2 or whatever. But here we go. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to pull this really dark pink and I'm going to use that for my line work going around. So just dip that in. As you are doing line work, it's really important that you don't rush or load. I know for me, for years, whenever I'm touching the kid, I feel like everything's going fine. But whenever I'm loading a brush, I have this like, oh, come on, lazy, hurry up, go faster. And the parent's watching you, like the kid's gonna lose interest and all this. And I don't know why it's so different, loading versus the painting, but loading is one of the most important parts. So make sure you give yourself the chance to go slow and to keep it good. So this is going to be a darker pink. And we're going to come right here and we're going to just do a teardrop. The anchor's down right there. We're going from right here and up. If it's easier for you, you can definitely do the drag and drop version as well. Whatever, makes you happy. Okay, so here we go. Now, anytime we do a wing, we want to do the beginning of the wing and the end of the wing like that. And then we want to connect those two. By understanding where we're starting and where we're stopping, it gives us the courage to go ahead and make it happen. When we start at one place and we just start line working our way through, sometimes we can get a little lost. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take this and we're going to build off of this first teardrop. Build a nice little line like that. Now, as you can see, I'm releasing that line by lifting. And it creates just something beautiful. And then I'm just going to follow it along with another one of those shapes. And then maybe we'll do just a teardrop by itself. Okay, now this is going to be cool. We're going to connect these two together by, you can see there's a little V right there. We're going to go ahead and just bring this thin line up and connect. And you can see that's a beautiful shape. Is that one we use every day? No, but it should be. It's really pretty. Then we're going to go ahead and just connect these two as well. This one kind of functions as a little back wing. And you can see we've got a beautiful look here, but I want to connect one more thing. having all of these lines be empty. They're all going somewhere, but they're not connected. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to scoop that right around. And that's going to give us this beautiful eyelid shape. It's going to give us these little pockets of color showing through, and it looks great. Okay, so now load it up one more time. We're going to do something similar, but not exactly the same here on the bottom wing. So we choose where we're starting and we choose where we're going to stop. And now we get the joy of connecting them. So we can go ahead and just do big, beautiful, bold marks, but then we want to make sure that we have big spaces and then little tiny ones. So as we go the other direction, we're going to just create some smaller little elements right there. And you can see that this is a great start. Now, is this a beautiful butterfly ready to be done? If you want to, but I'm not ready to be done. So let's add just a couple more little elements that are really going to bring this all together. So you can see we've got the pink going and we've got the yellow in there. And so I feel like our color palette is doing great, but we do need to finish our animal. So here on the inside of the nose, we can put a little body, and then I want to add some beautiful antenna. And so because we've already done some exciting swirls, I'm going to go ahead and just add some little basic antenna, but we'll dress them up here in a little bit. Then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring just one more down like that. And it's going to create a whole bunch of like almost a feather effect right there. And I love it. So you can see that you just take a step back. Feel free to give yourself a moment to breathe and to be like, okay, what do we need? So we've got this little cluster and a big spot, and we've got this here. But do you see how we have all of those empty points pointing in? So let's just do a little loop. We're going to start right here. We're going to loop and grab all of those and come back in. And now that's closed off all of those empty arrows pointing, and we've still connected them together. Then from here, I want to bring one loop that's going to be the dark color. So we'll come right here and we'll pull out, down, and around. And that says, I'm a butterfly, I matter, I'm on top. But can you see how all of these circles behind are just adding something? I mean, what if we did that? I'm loving it. Now, obviously, sometimes our what ifs will be fails. We'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't like that. I don't want that at all. And that's totally fine. It's in this realm of discovery that we will find things we love, and we'll find things that, you know what, there's a reason we don't do it that way. And that's totally fine. Okay, now this is still a little bit on the messy side. And so we're going to use some white to clean it up. As much as I love mess, mixed media, oh my gosh, I love it. I still find that I don't feel fully satisfied until things are clean. It's almost like I like to make a mess, but then I like to have it cleaned up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean up this design. And let me show you how we do that. I've got a number 2, or it's a number 3, low Cornell here. And we're going to just trace this butterfly. So we'll start right here and we'll give it a nice thin line right there. And then we'll go ahead and peek it right there just a little bit. I'm going to zoom in just so that you can capture that white a little bit better. So we're going to come back up here and we are just creating a boundary between the line work we did at the beginning and this butterfly. It's also really nice to do this because when you have these little areas like right here that has the color from under the butterfly, we can clean that up as well with that white. It's just going to help us say, yeah, don't pay attention to that. Then we come nice and around here. I'm gonna grab a little more white. Then I hop all over the place when I'm painting. So I'm gonna hop here to the front and I'm gonna do a teardrop. And I'm just gonna do teardrops to fill those in instead of tracing and outlining, because why not? It's always a, what if I did it that way? And I love it. So I'm gonna do that same thing here, where I'm just going to do teardrops in between the teardrops and then connect it out. And we've got that outline done. Now, this is where it gets really fun. We have done the line work at the beginning, and then we did our butterfly. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some line work at the end as well and see what that does for us. So first, we're gonna do the line work that's gonna be on top of the wing. I don't wanna do too many dots that are like all over the place, but I do love these lines of dots. I think they're so pretty for this design. So we'll do a line of dots right there, maybe a couple right there, put some in here. in here, maybe a couple there. Okay, so we have our little dots. And then what we're gonna do is we are going to allow this white to join the swirl party. So this is almost like a line work sandwich. We have line work, then a butterfly, and now we're gonna do line work on top of that. And we're gonna see what happens. Because when we do what if, we don't know the answer. If you already know the answer, then it's not a true what if. So here we go, starting right here in the corner. I'm going to come and I'm going to just, now when I do this, I keep my hand very still and I move my wrist or my elbow or even my shoulder to do my circles. So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to do a nice little circly wave right there on top of my butterfly. I think I want one more of those right here inside of that spot too. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, then we have a V right here. And anytime you have a V, it is just begging for line work. So we can pull a swirl out of there. Now that swirl happened and then it stopped and then it happened a little and then it stopped. And I love that. So I kind of want that to be there. If that drives you crazy, what you can do is just make sure you have a more consistent load and slow down a little bit. But then we can come right here and we can add a couple teardrops right into that V. And because we're using a different color that's not as much in our butterfly, what's going to happen is it's not going to detract. It's not going to become complicated because, okay, whoever is darkest is loudest. So if you look right here, the darkest color is the outline of our butterfly. So when we're finished and we zoom back out, that's what you're going to see is that darkness. And so the white is allowing us to be the little kids in the background that are giggling and laughing at this butterfly or whatever. So you can see what we did there is we just added a couple more swirls. This area right here under the eye is a little bit under, it's underdone a little bit, but I don't want to mess with the butterfly too much. So I'm going to just add some cute little girlfriend dots is what I'm gonna do there. And then maybe a couple dots there. If we do just one, it'll look like an eye, and I don't really want an eye on my butterfly, but by doing a couple, we're good. Then down here on this bottom swirl, I want there to be a little bit something that pulls in the rest of the butterfly. So I'm gonna add some of those trailing dots down here. And you can see that anytime you have that dark color, if you want to connect it in, you can just add a little bit of that white and now it's totally talking. Okay, now I said I didn't want swirls on my antenna, which was true, except now I do. So what if we add some swirls? Let's see what happens there. So we're gonna just come right here and we'll just add one swirl and two swirls. Now, what did this do for us? It gave us a double antenna, which I've never seen on a butterfly before, but I actually really like. So that's fun. And then we've got her eyeliner. Now, one thing I love to tell people is when you're doing eyeliner to keep it the darkest color you're using or the lightest. Either way is great, but that's going to make her pop out. And since she is the reason that we're doing all of this, we totally want that. Okay, so she's popping now for us. We've got all of this love and jazz, and I kind of love the mystery and the magic of that story that we're telling. So I'm going to come here and add just a couple little sparkly stars to give us something that isn't swirls that can kind of connect. And when we do some, I love having a really long tail here on the side, arm, whatever you want to say, but when it crosses over other elements, it ends up looking really beautiful. So we've got another one right there, and then maybe a little sibling that the mom made him bring, right? We all remember childhood, don't we? Okay, so I'm gonna hit that one more time. And we have a really pretty butterfly, and I wanna see what you guys think of it as we zoom out. So we're going to zoom out and you can see we've got the gorgeous whatever we always do, but then this little extra circly loops living behind. I think it's really pretty. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the pink that we were using just to finish up this design. And we're going to come in here and give her lipstick. So at the end, even if you're practicing, especially if you're practicing, whatever you practice is how you're going to end up painting, right? So at the end of a design, when you're like, oh, how does it look? And we take a step back, you want to do a human check. So let's do our human check. The eyes and the mouth are the two most important parts of the human face in artwork. You can skip the nose, you can skip all kinds of things, but the eyes and the mouth are really important. So this eye, how does it look? It's beautiful. This eye over here, it's completely left alone. Are we okay with that? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes it's like, nope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these little girlfriend dots. We're going to put them over here too. And that is going to branch it out. And you can see, if I shade it a little bit, you can see that that just gives us the consistency from one side of the face to the other. I always hate it when it looks like somebody's makeup has been half washed off, or half done. So we've got that check, and then let's check the lips. We've got the lipstick, but why not, bring our little dot friends down there to play? And even that little bit, now we've got a finished design. Of course, if this was a real person, we can add our sparkles, we can add some glitter to the lips, we can have so much fun. But yay, you guys, thanks so much for being here with me. Thank you so much for taking a second to answer this question with me of what if we do our line work first? And I feel like it's interesting. It's definitely worth trying again. I hope you guys are having a marvelous day. I'd love to know what you think of this design. I'd love to know if you guys have any what if questions that I can answer for you. And we will just see each other again very soon. I am hoping, obviously, one a day is probably going to stretch me a little bit, but I'm hoping to do at least like 5 a week so that we can get through this what if project together. So thank you guys so much. And I will look forward to seeing you again soon. Just real quick, if you want to practice and you're struggling and it's just not really fitting into your life and you're struggling with flow or whatever, please consider joining our class. We meet together once a week. There are a bunch of us that can't be there in the live version, so there is a recording of it, and it is so awesome to have that chance to have like some skin in the game. You know other people are counting on you to be there, so you show up, and then it's 2 hours of something very similar to this, except instead of me asking questions, I'm trying to answer questions, where we go through a different topic every week and we go in depth. So this last week we did dragons and it was awesome. If you feel left out of a class that you missed, just know that every class has been recorded. And as a member of the Fairy Fox Friends group, we have a Facebook group that goes with that. And we also have recordings of all those classes that you have access to. So you get in on the new classes, you can binge watch the old ones, whatever you guys want. But if this is all that you have time for is hanging out here on YouTube, know that I love you too. Your support means the world to me. Whenever people comment, whenever people have something to say, it really makes a big difference to me to know that you guys still want this content. So I'll look forward